Introducing your main event of the evening, 2 out of 3 falls with a 1-hour time limit for the World's Championship Heavyweight Division. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing first, the #1 challenger at 260 pounds from Midland, Texas, Wahoo McDaniel. And at 245 pounds in the red corner, from Kansas City, Missouri, the heavyweight champion of the world, Harley Race. 2 out of 3 falls, 60-minute time limit. NWA appointed referee for this title match, Dick Crow.
Man who handles the majority of main events in New York's Madison Square Garden, who travels the country for the National Wrestling Alliance to handle tough contests, and was assigned by the NWA to handle this match here tonight at the Sam Houston Coliseum for the world's heavyweight title. The champion, recognized by the National Wrestling Alliance, which covers the majority of countries where the American style of wrestling is featured throughout the world, is Harley Race. And this match has an extra measure of interest with both these contestants and with the fans because of a recent altercation between Race and Wahoo McDaniel. So the bell sounds and Wahoo gets what he is after, and that is a chance to take the world's title and, of course, the opportunity to get even with Harley Race. Whether the motive of revenge is one that will bring on as much intense desire as becoming the champion of the world depends on the individual, of course. Oh, man! Well, there was an individual move by Wahoo McDaniel that blocked Harley Race's wallop and knocked him down to his knees. But you saw what happened when Race hit the canvas. He dove head first into the Indian, and now he has landed the previous knee right squarely on Wahoo's nose. And as Wahoo comes up, he comes up a little bit soberer, perhaps, but you can bet that Indian is thinking in terms that would burn Harley Race at the stake. Fans get behind Wahoo. They start to give that whooping, tremulous call that they feel is an Indian war whoop. And Wahoo generally reacts to anything that comes from the fans and shows him that they're eager for him to come out of that ring the winner. Two-handed chop and a beauty. Crotching. Oh, man. He tried to drive him through that canvas. Almost succeeded. Wahoo, side headlock, putting the pressure on Harley Race, grinding that head with a shortened grip. He has reached up to grab his own wrist. Because the shorter the grip, the less actual strength you use. You use more leverage in fighting for a victory that'll squeeze it out. So Dick Kroll, referee, searches the hold and finds that it's legal. Wahoo puts the grinder to Race. The fans watch intently as Race is on his knees. They're waiting for either Wahoo or the champion to make a move from this particular hold. And Race tries to set him up and does set him up for that leap. Whoa, a flying body block, and there's one, and there's two. Whoops, that was close. That was mighty close for the first fall of this match. And I'll tell you, Wahoo has come in there with a scooping slam twice now that has literally made this ring shake. I'm sure it made Harley Race shake too. So the grip is a side headlock, and Race underneath trying to justify the position. He's trying to ease up on the pressure that is wrapped around his head. So Kroll looks it over. You see him moving from one end to the other as the pressure now is applied with Wahoo's weight being added to it. He comes up on the chest, and as he comes up on the chest, he forces Race's shoulders down just a little bit closer to that canvas, and the closer they get to that canvas, the more he's going to have to fight to do something about it. So Race underneath starts to squirm. The twisting of his legs enabled him to roll over so that he would be in a prone position rather than on his side or back. And Wahoo again shortens up that grip, holds it in there tight, no matter how Race moves. The pressure is against the back of his neck and against his ear in this particular case, and the jawbone. So, and Race, remember this, Race is a man who will trade headbutts with anybody in order to try to slow him up. And Wahoo's the kind of a guy who will knock your head off anytime you start to throw a wall. Oh, a tomahawk chop, and it literally cut him down. Back body drop. And the world's champion has been heisted and dumped, and Wahoo skips around that ring as the champion tries to slow up the pace of the Indian. In behind, reverse chin lock. Wahoo McDaniel. Wahoo takes good balance in behind him, but Race shifts. He keeps turning, keeps bending that neck of his and bowing his neck, if you will. Kroll putting the question to Race, asking him if he wants to capitulate. He stays right in there and asks. And now as he tilts him back, the count is 1 and the count is 2, and Wahoo had to fight that time to get out of the grip because Harley Race that time grabbed him by the trunks in order to tilt him over and stand him on his shoulders. Race's shoulders close. Wahoo hanging on to that grip. Wahoo sticks with that headlock, sticks close to something that he knows is going to work. Count is close. The referee has to get down there to look under it. He's the only one who can tell when the shoulders are down and when they're just close to the mat. Close doesn't count. What does count is having them glued to that canvas. Oh, he chopped down that time. Came in with a forearm to grab at the head again. Of course, he took a little chance at letting go of the hold, but he was letting go in order to improve it, and Wahoo is trying to bear down on it to make it stick. Backbreaker. He managed to drop Wahoo on his knee, or not so much on his knee, but on the top of his thigh, and he laid him in there. Here is Harley Race going for the suplex hold, but he's going to be thrown by it instead. Oh, man, what a tremendous drop. He heisted him up there and laid in a straight out position. And he caught him that time from under the chin, and this could be the demise. Whoops, not quite. That was close. But it was Wahoo's back body drop. He lifted him up in that suplex and dropped him as close as he's ever going to come to going through any ring. Reverse chinlock. Wahoo takes it right smack across the face. Gets his big fat forearm across the head of Harley Race. And you note Race again trying to turn over to get in the prone position so that he can ease some of the pressure. And that, of course, is the purpose of every maneuver you make when this particular hold gets on you, and that is to keep bone from grinding into bone. Where the forearm goes up toward the right ear of Harley Race, that's a danger point as far as Race is concerned. The referee trying to stay close. Kroll, of course, is basically a New York referee. His style of moving around the ring is adjusted to New York rules in most cases. But he does handle matches in most of the 48 states at one time or another. So at the 10-minute mark, Race rises up and crowds into Wahoo McDaniel. The referee calls for the break, and Wahoo's got to be careful. Oh, and he was careful, but it's a careful way to lose your teeth, because Race is not only driving into him with his body, but he was driving into him with his head, and that head was hitting Wahoo right squarely on the jawbone. Now here comes the southpaw Race coming in to belt him. Oh! Wahoo with those tremendous tomahawk chops that made him one of the all-time favorites with Houston fans. And he has belted his way out of trouble on several occasions. Here is the atomic drop, and he was driven forward by it, so that it wasn't just the dropping on the knee that caused Wahoo his problems. It was you can see Race now coming in there again. That punishment to the head and to the face. But when Wahoo hit into the turnbuckle, it multiplied his difficulties. Race heisted him and dropped him back. There, we've got it. It goes to Harley Race. He has won the first fall of this world heavyweight title match.
Winner of the first fall, the world champion, Harley Race.
So Harley is in fall ahead. A good place for a champion to be. And we'll be back here in a moment. So Wahoo McDaniel is one fall behind as the second fall of this battle for the world's heavyweight titles starts. And champion Harley Race stalks him. He feels he's got an advantage. And whether he has or not will depend on the next few moments. Whoops. And again, Harley Race, as he hits into hits his knees on that canvas, drives forward head first. Whether he hit a legal blow or not happened so quickly, I am not certain. Now, as he drops on Wahoo McDaniel, he's searching for Wahoo's ribs with his knees, and we almost had a 3 count. And Wahoo, reaching out with those white boots of his, was just able to find that bottom rope in time. Pile driver. Dropped him on top of his head. One of those is usually sufficient to lay a man out. Here, I was going to say here it is, but I forgot. That's Wahoo McDaniel in there, and he is not your ordinary man to be laid out by the application of one blow of any kind. So Harley Race holds a front headlock, face lock, if you will. But as he drops his weight in there, he is able to drive Wahoo's face right down into the canvas. The advantage right now, definitely belongs to the world's champion. He is one fall ahead, and not only is he one fall ahead, but he has, in the second fall, been able to compound the punishment that he handed McDaniel to win the opening fall. Wahoo going for the body slam that did him so much good in the first fall, but he made a supreme effort, took a lot out of him. You saw him fall just from the recoil of it, and this could be it right here, right now. Harley Race trying to cut the head off of Wahoo. Count was 2. And again, Race moves in, same effort. Front headlock, pouring it on Wahoo McDaniel. Referee Dick Kroll shouting to Wahoo, asking him if he wants to quit. Wahoo is answering only by kicking his feet, an indication that he has not yet succumbed to the total pressure of Harley Race. And Race is telling Kroll to ask him. That, of course, is the age-old cry of the man who has the hold. He wants the referee to play psychological warfare for him by continuously asking a man if he wants to capitulate. You put the thought in his mind. So Wahoo is trying to get his head out of a trap. Race is trying to make sure that he doesn't. Fans now are rising with Wahoo. Wahoo's coming up by inches, and the fans are giving him their support. They're literally lifting him up. And fans are protesting the manner in which Race took McDaniel down that time. That ought to help. So, whoa, Wahoo come up again with a tremendously accurate and hard clout with a tomahawk chop of his. Right across the face. And Harley Race catches it. Wahoo, Indian style. And again, as he swings, he finds a target, and Harley Race is in trouble, but the fortunes of war have shifted here, and shifted well. The Race over the top rope. Wahoo is going right out after him. For a moment there, I wondered whether Kroll was even going to consider the possibility of disqualifying Wahoo, but I didn't think that he rated disqualification. It was obvious that Race had climbed on that rope, hoping that the hold was going to be broken, and that when he was hit, he decided to take advantage of an opportunity and go back over the rope, hoping, of course, that a disqualification would come from it. Dick Kroll did not call the disqualification. He is trying to keep Wahoo back in order to give the champion the opportunity to come into the ring. He's got him stuck there, and he is making the best of the opportunity. Picture of a man standing on his head, and he was truly knocked into that position. This time, Wahoo did not fall for that headlong dive of Harley Race. And as Wahoo sets him up, he came across with a beautiful chop. We may have a fall. It's a fall. So Wahoo McDaniel uses that tomahawk chop. He cut him down. Wahoo McDaniel, who hails from Midland, is after the world's heavyweight title here in his home state of Texas, and he is now at least on even terms with champion Harley Race. We'll be back here in a moment after we have this word from the studio.
4, 3, 2, 1.
bell sounds the third, the final, the deciding fall of this battle for the world's heavyweight title. Race took the first, Wahoo took the equalizer, and Race just rose up to his feet shortly before the bell sounded to start this fall. He does not have an advantage. Wahoo has wiped that out, and now with Wahoo on top, a leg over the rope. Kroll counts vigorously, there's no question about that. He leaves no doubt about it as he pounds that canvas. The wrestlers in the ring can hear him and see him. The fans can hear him and see him. And he hits it with a vengeance. It's a good style. So, southpaw, Harley Race, delivers but catches. And here is Wahoo again, driving blow with that upper part of his arm and his weight, but you've got the hit. When you hit into the canvas, you can hit on the elbow and rob your arm of all that power. Wahoo hit hard that time. He's a hard hitter when it comes to those driving tackles. Why not? He played football in the American Football League, and he played with Houston, he played with Miami, he played with Denver, he played with the Jets. One thing he always did, though, was to play. Right now, those tackles come in handy sometimes, but sometimes you can run into the proverbial stone wall. And here goes a stone wall ready to descend on McDaniel, except that here could be a tough break for the champion. Oh, man! And Wahoo comes in there a little late, cut his head off. And there's one, there's two. There's one and there was two. The action fell away from referee Kroll, and he had to rush from one side to the other, in order to make the count. Wahoo caught one that time. So Race moves in, and off here on the concrete, this cold concrete alongside of us, is Wahoo McDaniel. He hit it hard, but Race comes out to make sure that he's going to hit it even harder. And, oh, man, he crashed into that turnbuckle in a way that would scramble you for sure. But there's a good block by McDaniel. And Wahoo is an expert at returning the compliment. Harley Race on the floor. Wahoo starts over after him. He looks to me like he's holding his right arm just a little bit stiff in there, like the shoulder could be bothering him. No, I'll take that back. He was evidently marshaling his muscles for an all-out blow with that tomahawk wallop. And so Wahoo McDaniel is in the ring, and the argument from Kroll is that he should have come back in sooner. And so Wahoo comes with the tomahawk chop. Race is the man down, and we have, there's one, there's two, but there is only two. Harley Race driving that blow into Wahoo McDaniel, and Wahoo returning the compliment, and we could have a fall. There's one, there's two. It's close again as the referee gets down there and drives into now with Race hanging in the rope. We've got problems. We've got The referee breaking the hold. We've got Harley Race bleeding and bleeding badly, and I'm not sure where it happened, whether it happened on the outside of the ring when he hit into the ring post, but as he wallops him up here, we have blood splattering in all directions, and the tremendous driving wallops of Harley Race and Wahoo McDaniel. The legs are over the rope. This will be broken up by the referee, but Wahoo's right there, and he didn't move very far from. There's a back body drop. Oh, man, the tremendous driving effort of those falls. That was close. There was only two, and fans are screaming to Wahoo to do. Here's Wahoo again. Same hold, lifting him. And how he heists him up and drops him. Wahoo on top. There's one again. There's two. And again, Harley Race just barely able to squeeze out from underneath. Wahoo going for the dive on top of him, and you saw Harley Race instinctively raise those knees to protect himself. And Wahoo dove on top of them, and that sometimes can be almost fatal, believe me, in a match like this. Harley again going for the heist, the lift, and Wahoo comes for the roll up. There's one, there's two, and he rolls him up again, and he grabs him. He grabbed him by, I thought he grabbed him by the trunks. Is the winner. Referee Dick Kroll counted 3. The toll was 3, and Harley Race bleeding and battered, and Wahoo McDaniel battles for the We'll be back here in a moment. Wahoo McDaniel argues in the ring, and the crowd comes around that ring to reinforce Wahoo's argument. He's telling him that he was grabbed by the trunks. We'll be here back in a moment. Let's have this word from the studio.